Oh. Oh. Oh, babes, I think I joined the cult. Okay, hear me out. This is awful. So we are gonna be wiping this off. I do think I know Morphe's next release. Who would have thought that after Morphe went into bankruptcy, got sold, had all of that drama, that they would come back under new leadership, stronger than ever, and just release banger products back to back to back. But that is what's going on. Quite honestly, there has not been a comeback story that I have been more surprised at than the comeback of Morphe. Because when we were talking about Morphe, I want to say a year ago, everyone was saying Morphe's done, there's nothing they can do to come back, but I think that what they needed was actually just a fresh start. New leadership, new owners, new everything, and we are going to do a full face of Morphe, and I am going to be trying everything from some of the items that they had from before that people really seem to love, all the way into the newest products that I really, really love, plus a little sprinkle of the new eyeshadow palette that just got released that quite honestly looks really good, but I've already tried one of them and I felt a little bit so-so, so now we need to see if the eyeshadow palettes is the one thing I don't love from the brand, or if it was just that one palette that wasn't great. So I have quite a bunch of things here and I'm very excited. Quick, just backstory. I did not used to love Morphe. There were some things that they had that was pretty okay. I was never on the Morphe PR list. I never had a Morphe code. Morphe once actually asked if I wanted to be added to a special kind of PR list where I would receive a box every month with old products, not even like the new products, in exchange for unpaid sponsored work. And I told them, absolutely not. So I did not myself have the best view of Morphe as a brand. Let's actually start with, as I tell you this story, let's start with something that I have not tried, and this is the Morphe Light Form Extended Hydration Foundation. I have mine in medium 13N, and hopefully I'm gonna like this one. My friend Heather said that she thought that this was a really nice medium coverage foundation that was hydrating without being sticky. So let's see if I like it or not, and we can talk a little bit about my feelings towards Morphe and how I feel about them now. Let's actually zoom in as well, because you can't see anything like this. I'm not going to use a primer because this foundation is actually one of the few things in this video that's going to be a first impression. So I just want to see how this one is on. Hello? That's actually really liquidy. Should I have shooken that up a bit? I feel like I did. It's still really liquidy. Okay, it's just a very liquidy foundation, which if you know me, you know I love a foundation that is really liquidy. This shade is perfect for my face, but it's probably gonna be, you can see, too light for my body. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna have to bronze up a bit, but that's okay because I have a bronzer that I love. Morphe was one of the brands that was literally the leader during like the 2015, 16, 17 craze. It was started by Linda Morphe and her husband, and this is not going to be like a story of Morphe, but they started a brand. They realized kind of quickly that during that era, the way to rise to fame and to build your brand was through creators, which still is true, but maybe not in the same way as it was back then. They started doing affiliate codes, they started doing collaborations with creators, they were releasing products that just became incredibly hype because they had the right people on their PR list and the right people promoting their brand. And they didn't release bad products, but they weren't amazing. They were like kind of good eyeshadows for the time, because at that time we could still not get those really sophisticated custom formulas unless you were a really, really expensive brand. Nowadays, a lot of smaller brands, which when Morphe started, they were of course a smaller brand, what they could access was just private labeled palettes where they could put their name on something that was already created. Nowadays, you are able to create a custom formula with labs at a much smaller quantity than you were back then. But back then, a lot of brands were just closed for smaller brands because they weren't seeing the profit or the potential in it. It's definitely a different time now, and I do think that brands like Morphe helped pave the way, because Morphe was an indie brand that basically paved the way, showing that you can scale and become a really big indie brand with the right kind of products and the right kind of marketing, which is what they did. Just look at other brands that have also grown since then, that have been indie brands. Just look at Glamlight, for example. And I mean, Glamlight has much better eyeshadows than Morphe ever had at the point. Of course, they started out being Morphe brushes, and I will not be using any Morphe brushes in this video. I'm going to be using the corrector, and then I'm going to be using the concealer. Love these. Mention these as one of my yearly favorites so far. They're absolutely beautiful. If you're looking for new concealer and you don't want to splurge, this is not just good for the price, this is a good concealer, and the corrector is really, really nice too. I highly, highly recommend them. But I don't have any of the new Morphe brushes, because they did relaunch their line, and one of the things that made Morphe fall down is, or like the downfall of Morphe, was that they kind of like maybe hung on to creators a little bit too tightly, and they kind of aligned themselves with creators that, and this is like 50% betting on the wrong horse and 50% just bad luck, but a lot of the creators that got really popular and that were chilling Morphe back in the day ended up being in drama for one way or another, and just it wasn't a good look for the brand to be associated with them. I'm talking about Jeffree Star, Jaclyn Hill, what's his face, James Charles. I kind of forgot he existed. You know what? I'm not sad about that, but I kind of forgot he existed. But he's still out there, isn't he? He's like thriving on TikTok, showing that it's just a different world out there, and people forget that you were sexting minors. Funny how that is. But they were also having this huge expansion where they were going into brick and mortar. They were changing all their formulas to be custom formulas. They were doing these really big, bold moves, which honestly is what I usually suggest indie brands. If you ever want to grow, you do have to start thinking about streamlining and branding and custom formulas and packaging and all of these things. But Morphe just did it all at once, and just in such a big scale. They had these huge Morphe stores, and eventually it all came crashing down, because when they started distancing themselves from the creators that were just creating a lot of drama for them, people realized that a lot of the products that Morphe had were not that great. It was 90% marketing and 10% products. And what I will say about this new range of products, I mean, foundation is first impression. It was a really nice light. It felt light on the skin. I definitely think this is a medium coverage. We'll see how it sets down. But I think that now it is better products. Products first, marketing second, which is something that I don't really think they were doing a great job at before. I also have the mini bacon set. Nowadays, I'm actually, since they were bought out with new ownership and relaunched the brand again under new management, they actually added me to their PR list. So I have gotten a bunch of these things in PR. I will link them down below. Some of these things I've still bought myself. In the description box, you will be able to see which is which. The powder, I have not been able to try that yet. They sent it to me, but I've heard really good things about it, and I will mainly be using this under my eyes, and I feel pretty confident doing that because I know I already love the concealer. So if I end up not loving my under eyes, I know it's the powder and not the concealer, because I love this concealer. But instead of using the Morphe brushes, I will be using my own brushes, Cinch Beauty, because I do own my own brand. But if I had the Morphe brushes, I would be using them, but they actually added me to the PR list just after. And since I have so many brushes, I didn't think that it was like really that smart for me to buy a lot of more brushes. But I have heard really good things about those as well. Okay, so this is a powder that is talc free. I've talked about that in a recent video, that I love talc as an ingredient, but it is about to be banned in the EU, so a lot of products are going to be talc free. But talc in powders are just, it just makes product a lot better. But it's going to be interesting to see for the future what they are going to replace it with, because I don't think that what they're doing right now is necessarily as good as talc. They're gonna have to find a new way to formulate products which I'm sure they are still, they're probably working on it right now, to be able to formulate product to perform the same, but without the talc. Okay, I'm gonna do my brows and we're gonna see how this foundation is. So I actually have two different bronzers from Morphe and I love both of them. This is the liquid bronzer and it is just such an amazing liquid bronzer. If you want to try a liquid bronzer, I'm gonna use the cream bronzer. I have this one in, is it in Ignite or in Sudden Heat? I'm so confused by this label. I'm not 100% sure. But if you wanted to try a liquid bronzer, this Morphe one is like just incredibly good. It is very gel-like. It has pigment, but it's not like overly pigmented. But it's also not like too sheer. It's just the perfect amount. And I truly, truly love it. And since it is a little gel-like in formula, you can mix it with foundation and stuff as well to get if you need more color in your foundation for the summer, for example. I could have mixed it into this foundation, but I just wanted to see how this one works on its own because this is the one I haven't, like I said, used before. Why do I feel like I'm so far up? I'm always so confused. I don't know who. I'll have like house elves that come in and change the settings on my lights and in my chair when I'm sleeping. But since I have started trying Morphe again, there has been so many good releases, like the concealers, the correctors, the bronzers. They also have a liquid blush. I haven't tried that one, but I've heard that one is really good too. I haven't tried any of the liquid lipsticks, or I think they have brow products left from before, but I'm sure that if they kept them, it's because they are products that make sense in their collection. I do think I know Morphe's next release. I'm gonna come out with my crystal ball and I think I know what they are gonna release next. And once we get to that, I think you will agree with me. Does that, I feel like maybe I need to be even more bronze. Is that helping? Who knows? The blushes we're gonna be doing actually are the Cheek Thrills. That's what they're called, right? Yeah. And I have it in Sunset Swim and Cabana Club. These are so beautiful. I'm gonna be using this one that has a little bit of color today. And this is actually only the second time that I'm using this one on my skin. And I absolutely love this formula. It's such a beautiful formula. I'm gonna be using the cream, which is up here, and then the cream highlighted version 2 on top of it. It is such a beautiful product. If you are looking for a fun like cream powder duo trio, this is like a shiny one, a cream matte one, and then just a powder to set if you want to. I highly recommend these. They are just such a good quality, and this packaging is not cheap. When you do like different colors for each packaging, they came up with much more colors than these. Those, not affordable. I'm just telling you right now, that is not affordable. And I just gotta say, I think they really did a home run with this kind of a product. I'm doing the one in the middle now, the one that has like a little shimmer to it. And I'm just gonna do a little bit on top. I wanna have like a really cheeky look. I brought this one traveling, but I ended up only using it once. But oh my gosh, I love these. And I also really love the one that is the bronzy version. I'm having like press-on nails right now. I'm trying to not pop them up, so I'm doing this. Such a beautiful all-in-one like bronzer, highlighter, like nude bronze in one. Such a beautiful product. They do have this one. This is Sunset Swim, and I do have it in the darker version too, in this like more brownie color. 100% recommend. So I'm gonna do a little bit of one of my favorite products from Morphe, which is the finishing powder. I have mine in Cloud Light Soft Glow Veil in Sunrise, and I am just gonna do a fluffy brush, and I am just gonna load up my brush. So it is on my brush, and I am just gonna be buffing this all over my face except on my cheekbones, because we are gonna do a little bit of highlight, and this gives a little bit of glow. I'm using it even here to like accentuate my pores today, but I just wanted to show you what you can expect from this powder. It is just gives this beautiful glow to the skin while still being a powder. I just think this is beautiful. If you're looking for a luminous but not sparkly or shiny finishing powder. This one from Morphe, it feels luxurious, but at a really low price tag. Okay, this is me saying, I think the next product Morphe is gonna launch, or at least one of the next products they're gonna launch, is gonna be a highlighter, because right now Morphe does not have a highlighter in their collection. There is nothing on the website, they just do not have a highlighter. So the closest thing they have to a highlighter is actually the shiny ones, back with the tweezer. The shiny ones in these trios that they have is the closest thing to a highlighter. So I'm gonna use this one, and I'm gonna use it with more of a highlighter-esque brush. And I'm just gonna put a little bit on top here to get that like slightly bronzy glow. But as you can see, that blush already had a little sheen to it. But yeah, I think that Morphe is gonna be releasing highlighters. I have said for 2 years that I think highlighters are making a comeback. And what's been released from every brand under the sun this year? Highlighters. And I think Morphe will join in on that for sure. I would not be surprised if we saw a cream or a liquid highlighter from Morphe real soon. That was some green left in this brush. I'm a mess. I need to clean my brushes. Don't come for me. I have never used the continuous setting mist from Morphe. Remember when everyone was using this? That's interesting. They sent me this one in PR and I still haven't used it. How do I just dropped that on my dog. Guys, I can have that back. She literally woke up and was like, bitch, what are you doing? Okay. Oh, okay. So you can like hold it for as long. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Oh, babes, I think I joined the cult. This is great. Wait, why has it taken me what, 5, 6, 7 years to try this one? Oh, that was good. Oh, okay, that was good. I'm getting demonetized. Wait, the mister on that? It still feels like you coated your entire skin. Oh my god, you can definitely see there was some green in that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't look at that. Imagine that that is not there. Let me just cover that with some blush. That mister... Ooh, that was beautiful. Let's do our lips. I have a couple of things to talk about before we get into the eyeshadow, but blushes, love them. Finishing powder, love them. Both of the bronzer products, love them. Concealers, love them. This one, I'm already joining the cult. And I think so far, both the powder and the foundation is looking really nice. I'm telling you, Morphe just needed to get rid of some people and some practices, and they had it in them. This entire time, they had it in them to create bomb products at an affordable price. Let me get a lip liner, because that's also something that they do really well. So I have 2 lip liners from Morphe. I have Honey Moon and Backseat Love. You see, Backseat Love is a little bit more pinky, and Honey Moon is a little bit more like nudie. And I bought something myself. I bought a gloss from them, and I also do have one of their stains here. This is Grape Scent Grape Kisser, and this is a stain, right? Wait, can we open this one? This was part of the collection that they sent to me. I think it was like a, I was gonna say Halloween. I don't mean Halloween, I mean Valentine's collection. Is this a gloss or a tint? Lip stain. This one has like fuss on it because it came with those little green worms. So this is a stain and it's a little purple. Okay, hear me out. We're gonna use this one too. My friend Heather Austin said these were great. So I am gonna do the pinky one, which is the Backseat Love. Can you tell how much I've loved like this one? I need to sharpen it. These lip liners are really nice. Morphe lip liners. These are some that I've actually bought from before. Really nice lip liners. And then we're gonna do the stain, and then we're gonna do the gloss. One thing that I really love doing with lip stains is what I call the reverse ombre or popsicle lips. So I do a light nude lip liner, and then we do the stain, and this one is the grape one, and I'm gonna wipe this off so we don't get too much, but you can tell it's a purple. And then we do this. Oh, this smells a little grape too. We'll do this on the inside of the lips. because we wanted to look like we just ate like an ice cream or a popsicle. And then we're gonna do the gloss. I bought a pink gloss. For the longest time, I was going on and on and on about this on this channel, how much I didn't love. That's really pink though. How much I didn't love pink lips, how much I didn't love pink cheeks, and how much I didn't love sparkly lips. And here we are. This is a pink sparkly gloss. And why is this Barbie on crack? Mistakes could have been made. Oh, it smells. Actually, this smells sweet, but this smells like Play-Doh. I don't hate that. It's giving me like a child flashback, but that's actually really cute. I just wanted to get a color that wasn't what I always get. This formula feels very gel-like, and I honestly almost feel now that I want to have like a little darker. So I'm going in with the other lip liner in Honeymoon just to get it a little bit darker. That looks really cute. Okay, that's a bananas color. This is the color Glint of Pink. That is not a glint of pink. That is a full like uppercut of pink. So I have been using one of these solo shadows from before, but it was in Mixtape, which is like a darker color. But today I'm gonna use a lighter color that more mixes my skin tone. This actually has a little bit more of a pink undertone, which is honestly perfect for this. I'm gonna use a clean, this one is from OPV Beauty, to apply it, because we are gonna be playing with some pastels, and something that is a little bit more of a cooler undertone as a primer will actually be really good. This one does work really nice as a primer. I just didn't love, I've been using it with other eyeshadows since that actually works really good, as that I know work really good, so I know there's nothing wrong with the primer. But the first eyeshadow palette that I used, which was a pinky one, I felt like the mattes were a little bit too thin, a little bit too, I don't want to say dry, but they didn't have enough grip to them. So I didn't feel like I was giving the result that I want from the eyeshadows. They didn't layer perfectly. They weren't pigmented enough on the eyes, and I wasn't loving the look that I did. I ended up having to go in with another palette. So now I want to see with a 6-pan palette, and this one is in Sky Fi. I want to see if it's the same with this. I'll pop up a little reel where you can see how all the palettes look. I haven't swatched all of them because I'm probably going to be giving some of them away. But this is the Lo-Fi one, and we are going to be diving into this pastel-y one, and I'm going to try and use all the shades in this one. I'm going to start with this one, which is a satin, and it is the darkest shadow in this. So I'm going to start with that on my outer corner. Oh, I think I need to, because you saw I got a little bit of fallout. And I'm just going to try and create something with all of these shadows and see how this one performs if I use the darkest shadow first, which I didn't do with my last look. And you can definitely use the satin in the outer corner. I do prefer using only mattes in my outer corner because I feel like it helps with definition and making everything look like smooth, but this is definitely possible too. I know I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, when you get like older, you're supposed to only use, I'm gonna use the pink one here, you're supposed to only use like satin shadows to like kind of like not accentuate any like fine lines and stuff. And I am gonna be the one to say I don't agree with that at all. I think, oh, that didn't blend out that nice, did it? I think that matte shadows make everything look much better. I don't know how I feel about that. That could be me. That could be user error from me, because I went in and I blended more with the dark shadow and it made it a little muddy. That could be user error. I'm gonna put some of that over here too. And then I'm gonna use the blue shadow It's not super, I mean, this is not bad, but there is definitely, I will say, ColourPop, for all the faults that they have sometimes with eyeshadows, they do make really nice pastels. I will say that. Their pastels are usually incredibly impressive. And this is, it's okay. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. Okay, hear me out. This is awful. Like, this is not it. So we are going to be wiping this off. These do not blend together at all. I don't know how you're supposed... Again, I'm not the best person in the world at makeup. I really am not. I am not out here telling you all that, oh my gosh, if it doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for anyone. That is like, that we all know that's bullshit. But I will say, this, not my favorite. They're dusty. I don't feel like they blend together. I didn't like that at all. At all. So taking that off, I didn't like that at all. I have a hair here that's driving me crazy. Like, it's driving me crazy. Yeah, no. Where is it? Aha, here it is. Oh my god, it was driving me bananas. So, new strategy. I'm gonna go in with the eye primer again. And I am gonna make this easy. Because if there is one thing I noticed, is that you cannot start layering or blending. I'm sure there are absolute pros out there that are able to make this work, but the way that I like to do my makeup, these mattes specifically do not work the way that I like to do my makeup. They are so weak and powdery and dry, and I just am not able to get that to work. And again, I don't want to be shady and be like, oh, they're awful, but they're not my favorite. So I'm gonna do blue out here. We are back to the absolute basics. I'm gonna do blue out here. And then we're gonna do pink on the other side. This is an EO3, which is a big fluffy brush. So I'm basically just poofing this on. Now I'm like, you see there's blue on one side and pink on one side. And I'm just buffing it on and just softening up the edges, because I realized that this is how you have to treat these shadows. Like little fragile babies. But you can see they're so weak. I'm gonna go into the shimmers. I didn't have any problems with the shimmers from before. These, oh my god, almost put it on the wrong side. These are more like dry, sparkly shimmers. You can use these wet, the ones in the middle. But I just want to see how they go on if we just put them on. And this is the pink one. The blue one is more sparkly than the pink one. What was that? No, I'm sorry, Morphe. I think you know, Morphe, that these shadows are not good. Because what, ma'am, I'm gonna do my best fixing this, but I really, I wanted to say I lost my will to live. That's not true, but what is that? What? Okay, I'm gonna put on, I've tried to do some mascara. This mascara is so good. The Half Magic mascara, holy bananas. It is such a good mascara. I mean, look at this. I'm still gonna put on the Half Lash because nothing can save a dying look like a good oh my god, this white is such a good white. I'm gonna do a random matte white, just because there was literally no freaking pigment in the ones from Morphe. I literally just I said literally 3 times in that sentence, okay? Don't come for me. I just poloed my friends and I was saying I hate these shadows. I do not, there are so many things that are great from Morphe. Literally everything else. But these eyeshadow palettes, no. Whatever they are doing with those, you don't need to be part of that, okay? You are fine. I'm actually, to save up for how weak these shadows look, I'm gonna be adding a little bit more of that middle bronzy shade and just put a little bit more on. Hello, little lid, and just boop boop, putting a little bit more on and making the cheeks a little bit more of a statement instead, since the eyes clearly did not want to be part of that. So we are like that instead. And I'm gonna put on half lash and we can have a final chat. But these eyeshadows, ain't nobody needing to be spending any money on those. Put those down, take them out of your basket. You don't need them. Okay, at least the skin is looking really nice. The eyeshadows, I mean, are they in the room with us right now? I use my finger. Don't get me demonetized. I literally use my finger to get these shimmers to show up on my eyes, and like, where art thou? These pastels are so sheer. They could have been a pastel setting powder. Okay, I love the concealers. The setting spray, you can tell I already have it here in front of me. It's staying here, staying there. You're part of the gang now. Love it. Bronzers, the blushes, the lip liners, such beautiful products. Even this like primer has been a really nice one. But what are these eyeshadows? And it is an absolute crying shame that the eyeshadows that Morphe used to have back in like, what was that, 2016? Are better, 2015 even. Like, I remember buying Morphe then, yeah. Those were better than this. The private labeled stuff they had a decade ago is better than this. Make it make sense. So yeah, if there's anything you're gonna take with you from this video, it is that Morphe has new owners. Most of the products that they're releasing at this point are really, really beautiful. That finishing powder, such a nice one. Eyeshadows, you don't need this release. Put it down, get it out of your basket, save yourself some money, get a blush trio instead. Those are great. Anyways, let me know if you tried anything from Morphe since they got sold and bought and are under new ownership. I would love to hear your thoughts about this. I don't even know if they do affiliate codes anymore. I actually have no idea, but you can find most of their products over at Ulta as well. I don't know what resellers they have over in Europe or other parts of the world. If you know, please let us know down in the comments. I would love to hear about that as well. If you like more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, because I love doing these like a full face of a different brand and talking a bit about the brand. So don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more things like that. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It really does help out the channel. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you soon in a new video.